Hi everyone, good day to all of you and welcome to another episode of the FQ Mom podcast. Today is an exciting episode. You know, I've known our guest for quite some time. As a matter of fact, 14 years ago, I gave him a copy of my book, Raising Pinoy Boys, my very first book, when I found out that he too has 3 sons. And he is doing so many things. As a matter of fact, when I dug up my yearbook, I found out, oh my God talaga, that he was a teacher during my time at the Ateneo.
Wow. Oh, that's nice.
Diba? Nakakatuwa nga. Sabi ko, kasi it's already our jubilee year. So, napatingin ako. And I found that you were a teacher. So, anyway, so doing so many things. In his book, he describes himself as the boy from Mindanao, a thinker, a lawyer, a teacher, a social entrepreneur, and he's a fierce advocate for environment, human rights, accountability, ay marami pang iba. Ilalagay ko na lang sa description nitong video na to kasi masyadong mahaba. Or better yet, for you to find out, get a copy of his book titled Ransomed by Love, A Happy Changemaker's Unfinished Journey. Friends, please help me welcome our guest for today, Attorney Tony Lavinia, also known as Tony Loves.
Hello, good morning, afternoon, evening.
Yeah,
I'm not alam what your time zone is or when you're watching this. I'm so happy to be here with Rose, who I've known for quite a while now. Masaya ako na nandito ako to answer your question.
Oh yes, I know, Tony. You know, I want to discuss with you so many things. Kasi, you know, since I turned 60, which is called the third act, I've been very observant of the people in that stage of their life and hoping to really pick up something. Yung mga good things na nakita ko, ay parang gusto ko yun. And you know, yung sa'yo, one of your Facebook posts, nagpapakimo ka, para ka lang, yung positivity mo, yung optimism mo, para ka lang glug-gluta tayo.
Well, may side effect ang cancer treatments. Na actually your skin gets better.
Oh, that is why.
Yung hair,
flawless ka ngayon.
actually, lose your hair or thin your hair. But your skin, I actually don't do chemo, I do what's called electronic acid injections.
All right.
Which is once a month. I have to go to the hospital, stay for 3 to 4 hours to have my bones injected with what's called electronic acid, which is necessary to stop the progress of my cancer. Kailangan yon ipigil kasi otherwise kumakalat sa buong katawan.
Correct.
So successful naman yung treatment, parang na-frozen siya muna, at least for a while.
So we jumped right into that. Pero can I just bring you to page 229 of your book?
Sure.
You say, on April 6, 2022, I had my usual blood tests taken. A few days later, the results arrived, and I saw right away that the PSA, a marker for prostate cancer, was higher than normal. Can you tell me and the viewers, what was going on in your mind? Where were you? Who were you with during this time?
I was shocked. I was actually alone. It wasn't busy week, it's Holy Week.
Yeah,
I found that on a Monday.
Okay.
So
Holy Monday.
Holy Monday.
Okay.
So I right away called the doctor, and I didn't want to worry my wife, right?
Okay.
So I actually didn't tell her until after Holy Week that
So,
this was
isang buong
something.
Semana Santa?
Yeah, until I was sure
God.
na there was something. I was scared because my father died of prostate cancer.
Okay.
Yeah, I was scared. Couldn't imagine that I will not outlive my father. And I mean, in terms of age,
Yes.
I couldn't imagine that. So I immediately called the doctor, my urologist.
Yes.
And right away he said, this is higher than normal. Usually we will just monitor if it goes up. But because of your family history, you go do an MRI. So imagine that Holy Week. I couldn't do it right away. It's Holy Week, diba?
Yes.
So it was just in my mind, right? I was praying. It was the most scary Holy Week.
Yeah.
And then you enter into the passion, di ba?
Exactly.
Yung, in my mind, of course, eventually I will accept whatever is there. But it took another week to get the MRI and to confirm na mukhang may ganun nga. So I told my wife, and she like cried right away when I told her. And then after that, we had a biopsy. And then
so you said that 1 week. Did you wait for Easter? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, I told her after Easter, and I only had the MRI on the Monday after Easter.
Kasi nga, yung iba sa
only week. In fact, ako yung last, very interesting story kasi paalis na yung neurologist, si Dr. Kukum, when the secretary of my doctor who used to be CEO of Medical City called her and told her, wag ka muna umalis, please, kasi Dean Tony Lavinia is coming to see you. So ako yung last patient niya before also nag-holiday siya. And siya yung nagsabi na, seryoso ito, hindi ito yung, you have to do other diagnostic tests. You have to know, people can go through this, or people have gone through this na. It's a shock when you hear that. Especially because there are no symptoms.
Ano yun? Para bang nagdidilim? Para bang ganun ba yung feeling?
Parang there is so much uncertainty about the future when that happens. Kahit nababasahin mo, para prostate cancer mo ka namang okay siya, controllable siya, para siyang equivalent to longer life, diba? Well, breast cancer depende sa stage, diba? But ito, still, hanggang hindi mo alam ano exactly is hitting you, diba? You're just scared. So I was scared. And I was sad because in my mind there was too many things I wanted to do.
I know.
I mean,
and how old were you?
At the time, I was 63.
Okay.
2022, so 63, yeah.
So if it took you 1 week to tell Tita, your wife, how long did it take you before you now started telling the people in that wider circle?
So so the children, hindi muna. Tita, muna.
The 3 sons?
Then, yes, the 3 sons, hindi muna. I did a biopsy, and then when the biopsy happened, I started telling our sons. So the youngest is the first to know, si Rafa. Kasi siya yung pinaka-kalma siguro sa mga bata. No? Lost student. And then middle son, si Rico, was in the US.
Yeah.
So we told him after that. And the oldest son was a bit of marami siyang challenges. But marami siyang fears. And talagang help ang fears niya. So we didn't want to. Siya yung last. Diba? Felt like, no, we can do this. It's not. And when you Google kasi the disease, parang hindi siya threatening. But sa akin, one after the other, all the tests would always produce the worst outcome. Diba?
Oh!
Yeah.
Kasi meron kang range. Lagi kang nandito sa high scorer.
Lagi may range naman. Kasi sa prostate cancer, basically, halimbawa kung localized lang, it can be taken out. Diba? And then cured ka na supposedly. Diba? Ako palagi nandun ako sa the more negative side. So it got really scary. Kasi, oh my God. So akala namin nung the diagnosis final, akala namin that sentence as we were waiting, para bang, oh, you have 1 year to go or 6 months to go na ano. Turned out, hindi pala. Kasi even if it's spread, metastasize to the bones in my case. Hindi pa naman to the organs. Yun ang worry talaga. If it jumps to other organs. But it's metastasized to the bones. Hindi naman pala yun end game pa. Kasi pwede siyang ma-suppress.
Alright.
Ma-prevent ang progress. Hindi na siya ma-cure. So my cancer is no longer curable. Wala nang remission doon. Pero parang siya stall. Para bang frozen in time. Diyan ka muna.
So did you have a game plan?
After that na. After I realized na, frozen in time pala ito. Think of more than a year. Although at the time, parang, syempre, at first, hindi mo alam na the treatment will work. Yun pala. Ang assumption is, if the treatment works, ma-freeze ang time.
Yeah, okay.
So the first 3 months, hindi ko alam kasi the treatment yung treatment is just hormone injections. And the monthly infusion of sonographic acid. hindi namin alam na what happens, what will happen, di ba?
Yeah.
That's why I wrote the book.
So yeah, that was my
because
next
I thought
question.
that,
That's part of it.
maybe I only have 6 months or 9
Okay,
months to go,
okay.
di ba?
So from the time you were diagnosed to the time you started writing the book, what's that time frame?
That would have been 6 months after.
Okay, mabilis.
Then I wrote the book in 6 months. Yung first version. So such that if I finished the first draft in 6 months, such that if, let's say, things got worse, it could have been published within my lifetime. But if you only have 3 or 6 months to go, then we'll publish.
Galing mo. So yung
Kaya lang, well, doon ko naman ang pinuro. Kasi para bang, if ever man, may legacy, di ba? Kasi, I've always thought, Rose, that my main contribution to the world, di ba, is helping other people understand where they are, make decisions about where they are, help them to contribute better to the world, di ba? I have made my own contributions, I can say that, pero, di ba, yung, alam mo naman yung mga contributions natin in the end, they're just in small pieces here and there. But if you're influencing hundreds or thousands, then kalat talaga contribution mo, di ba? So this book was also for that. People who read it, especially next generation,
may mapulot.
Mapulot. You don't have to start from scratch. Hindi lang magsisimula sa, di ba? Sa scratch.
And I had a wonderful time reading your book. In chapter 1, you narrate your childhood vividly with scenes of you swimming in the Cagayan River, which you say now is not
you
anymore.
Cannot swim there anymore.
Can you tell us a little bit more about your childhood?
Cagayan de Oro, City of Golden Friendship. That's where
I remember
It's a small town at the time. My mother is from Cagayan de Oro, talagang native from Cagayan de Oro. My other side of the family, my father is from Osami City, also in Mindanao, also from Leyte. My grandfather mother is from Camiguin, but my mother's mother is Cagayan de Oro, and that's where they settled. You have to imagine Cagayan de Oro as this small city at the time with a grid, di ba, yung streets na parang grid. So madali na siyang to go around, walk around, or drive around. Named siya after mga old families from Cagayan de Oro. My family na from Cagayan de Oro is Chavez, so wala yan sa name ko, but it's Chavez. It's one of the streets is Chavez. So noon when we were growing up, if you marry someone from Cagayan de Oro, most likely relative mo. Diba? And it would be, this is interesting, but we call it a marriage of streets. So it is a town like that. Diba? So I grew up with a family that was very intense. Diba? Yung mother ko, they were intellectuals, they were artists, they had poetry readings in the house, they loved music, they introduced us to music and to theater. Diba? And my brothers and siblings were also artists, di ba?
Makulay talaga.
An intense. Grabing away din. I mean, the flip side of, now I can talk happily about it, but the flip side of the grabing away, kasi intense eh. Everyone, like for example, just sitting in, we had a station wagon, di ba, at the time. Just say who will sit in the front, di ba? Away na yun.
Ilan ba kayo magkakapatid?
6 kami eh.
Pang ilan ka?
Pang third.
You're the third.
So ako yung pacifier.
Parang
middle child is supposed to be that, diba?
Can you tell us about a childhood money memory? Siyempre, FQ mama, no?
I'm sure you will lecture me on this, but maybe not.
You just give me like one vivid.
No, this is a very vivid story.
Okay, go.
So my father was a businessman, so conscious siya, and he wanted us to, and kuripot siya. So he wanted us to be conscious about money. Tatlo kami magkapatid, yung eldest, Pompey, yung middle, si Annie, tas ako. So binigyan kami, I don't know, maybe 100 pesos at the time, it was in the 60s, no? I was probably 8 years old then. Binigyan kami ng 100 pesos each. Bumili kayo ng ice drop in the corner, and then sell it, di ba? And bahala kayo sa pricing. At to learn how to sell things, di ba? So yun na nga, darating yung brother ko. At the end of the day, yung brother ko, Dad, I have, di ba, 150 pesos. Di ba? Kasi magaling yung brother ko, businessman din. In fact, ngayon businessman yung brother ko ngayon. Yung sister ko, medyo even nga kuripot yung sister ko. So, nabawi lang niya, Dad, I have 100 pesos. Pagdating ko, Dad, I gave away everything. Kasi, ang tawag namin sa bukong. Parang everyone is asking from you, di ba? And then begging from you, ako na nangyari, mabait ako eh. So ever since, ganun yung take ko sa pera, yung parang it's not something to obsess about, di ba? Siyempre later on, mas meron naman savings, nag-ano naman ako ng assets, di ba? But up to now,
you like giving?
Yeah, if people ask me something, as a general, I don't say no, di ba? Unless alam ko inaabuso ko, niloloko ako, or And that's helped me throughout my life, right? Parang ganun. So, sabi ko lagi sa kasi minsan mga anak ko, yung wife ko, parang, grabe ka naman, parang, na naman yan, bibigay ka naman dyan, ganyan na. Abla ko sa but it has always worked in my life, di ba?
Okay.
Na to be, alam ko din na di ba, yung, some of us, Rose, are not businessmen, di ba?
Yes.
So, na-recognize ko, I'm not a businessman. And later on, of course, na-monetize ko lahat ng marami sa mga ginagawa ko as a teacher, as a lawyer, as I recognize myself as a professional, di ba? So, where you can be paid for the value of your work.
More than 100 pesos. So, si Ika ba ang matiga-control mo?
Yeah, I mean, she's more prudent with money. Let's put it that way. But we've always worked on the basis of the idea that God will always provide. Diba? Hindi reckless, di ba? Hindi naman kami reckless.
Hindi naman reckless.
No, it's important not to be reckless.
Generous.
Kasi unfair din yun to yourself, and especially to your children.
So you just feel that you have this innate generosity.
Yeah, and also that God will always provide. Parang very important yun.
The confidence.
And we're very spiritual about that. Di ba? Na whatever you do in terms of generosity, it will come back to you 100-fold. And I can always say that. Talagang
that it's that's the story of your life.
Yeah, yung halimbawa, I'm a human rights lawyer, an environmental climate justice lawyer, also a teacher. Everything I've done has never been about how much I will get paid for. But I always tell my students this, the people who want to, who want to follow this kind of life, di ba, na parang risky, parang dangerous, parang walang kita, ganyan. No, I'm not poor, di ba? I'm successful. In the eyes of the world, you can actually be successful in doing right things and good things, di ba? Because people appreciate that work also. Hindi naman na parang, so I do a lot of free things, but I also do things that are
that
well
you get paid for.
That you get paid for. Diba? So, yung balance na ganun is important.
So, pag-usapan natin yung political awakenings. Sa pamilya mo kasi, di ba, very involved din kayo. Tell us about it. When did it start, your political awakening? How old were you during the Marcos? When Marshall was...
When Marshall was 12 years old, di ba? I was very conscious, pero...
Naririnig mo
usapan sa bahay. Lalo, the day that martial law was proclaimed, my mother and father were whispering to each other, and I could overhear them. Ninoy Aquino was arrested. A lot of arrests are being done. Hindi ko alam na that day pala when martial law was proclaimed, nagpuntahan lahat ng mga activists, maraming mga activists sa Cagayan de Oro to my father to ask for sanctuary. Magpatulong sila kasi tumatakbo sila. Hinahabol sila ng militar.
Your father was also
a lawyer and a law professor.
Yes.
So marami siyang kilalang students na activists.
Okay.
Pero conservative siya, but open.
Yes.
Hindi siya yung So, kinukup niya maraming activists dun sa
bahay niyo.
Yung bahay namin. But it was yung bahay namin ngayon actually it's a events place and boutique hotel na called Villa Lavinia. But yun ang bahay namin from high school upward.
Yeah.
At the time, kinoconstruct pa lang siya in the 70s.
Yes.
So doon nag-sanctuary yung mga aktivista. Many of them actually joined the NPA, etc. Many of them naman then, later on, became government officials. Ganyan naman kasi young people, di ba? They were making their choices then and also, later on, changed their minds. So, which is okay na. So, nandun yung family history na yan. But ako 15 years old when it really started kasi naggera ang Mindanao.
Okay.
Grabing gera sa Mindanao, yung MNLF versus the Marcos government,
Yes.
diba? And I became the leader in our high school sa relief operations sa mga refugees. That led me to ask, bakit may gera, diba?
Oo.
And I realized that this was the fault of the government, diba? Yung oppression sa Muslims, yung and then of course then I learned also that other peoples were being oppressed. So from 15 years old onward, naging activist na ako. Na-broken for a while, artista ka sa'yo, alam mo yan, yung pagpasok sa Ateneo na ang tawag ko doon, nalinlang ako sa buhay Ateneo for a few years, diba, na social na buhay, yung college, diba? Sa dorm, I was in the dorm, di ba, maraming mga friends, mga perkada, so let me just say, I tested everything, I explored everything you could explore at the time in Ateneo de Manila, di ba, in terms of, basta. I can't admit some of the things I explored, but I really explored everything.
Yes, yes.
Before I went back to, I want to help change the country.
Ito gusto kong basahin tong part ito. On page 42, you say, I also had conversations with many students who are politically active, including the armed resistance against the Marcos dictatorship. While initially, I was the one trying to convince the latter to become moderate, I eventually became radicalized.
Yeah,
Tell us about that.
you have to, in the 80s na yan.
80s
you have
na.
to because it was a very oppressive government, diba? And if you cared about the country, you had no choice but take up arms, diba? Or join at least the underground resistance. Kasi wala pang, until 1983, yung Aquino assassination, wala pang yung above ground resistance. So, konti-konti lang above ground resistance. If you rally ka, mag-march, huhulihin ka.
Oo, wala.
Diba?
Oo.
So actually, maraming mga bata na nag-abroad na lang sila kasi they couldn't stand. They couldn't stand either abroad or magbingi-bingihan ka na lang, di ba?
Which majority.
Which many do kasi. Siyempre, mahirap din yung di ba? So I explored that option, but eventually rejected it.
When you say explored, in your mind pa lang?
No, I talked to people.
Okay.
Can I go to the hills? Diba? Can I join the armed struggle? Diba? I have a funny story there.
Okay, come on.
So yung aking what we call now political officer, no? Yung kumbaga the one who's helping you grow in understanding the problems of the Philippines. Sinabihan ko siya, gusto kong pumunta sa bundok to join the NPA. So sabi, tingin niya sa akin, hindi pwede, sabi niya. Una, matagkad ka. Di ba? Even now, actually even now, kahit sa Pilipinas, kahit saan? At the time, siyempre mga 6 foot na rin ako kasi college, after college na yan eh. Di ba? I mean, your last height is like you're 20 years old, di ba? So 6 foot na ako noon. So anywhere you go, sabi niya, makikilala ka. Di ba? You cannot argue that, di ba? Kasi physical eh. Pangalawa, mistiso daw ako, nag-disagree ako. Hindi mo ako mistiso.
Mistiso chinito eh.
No, hindi mo mistiso.
Basta, siguro little lighter.
1 week lang sa bundok, may iitim na ako. Sabi ko, hindi naman ako mistiso. Sa akin mistiso kasi ay yung chika, putika, maputika, or yung Spanish type. Hindi mistiso sa akin. And then, the third was, naging Inglesero ka. Diba? So, isang linggo ka pa lang sa bundok, malalaman na ng militar na nandun ka, habulin ka na, hindi lang ikaw mamamatay mo lahat ng mga kasama mo.
Yung pala.
So, I said, sige na nga, sabi niya, mag-propagandist ka na lang.
Okay.
Diba?
So, that is above ground. Is that what
well, above and below ground din, kasi, pwede ko mag-propagandist for the underground movement, diba? So,
basta hindi ikaw yung nasa...
Sige. So, bumalik ako ng Manila. Nag-philosophy teacher ako sa Ateneo. That's why nandun na ako, diba? Sa ano na yan. Nag-philosophy teacher ako sa Ateneo, thinking na I will just be a propagandist, diba? And then nangyari yung Aquino assassination.
Yes.
So, suddenly may above-ground options.
So, you were a teacher in Ateneo.
Teacher in Ateneo.
I was a student.
Became very... Ano yung gonna graduate?
1985. Alam mo,
Yun.
kanina ko nakuha yung aking awakening kay Erin Tanyada.
Of course, of
So,
course. Classmate ni Erin.
magka-class kami ni Erin. Binibigyan kami ng mga yellow
So,
ribbon.
yun naging very active ako dun sa anti-Marcos dictatorship after Aquino. And so now I could compare.
Yes.
Kasi before that, hindi mo mako-compare ano yung struggle, political involvement na above ground sa underground, di ba? Kasi wala kang choice, underground lahat eh.
Yeah.
So now I could compare, and I was more comfortable with above ground. Most of all, I was not comfortable with violence, di ba?
Okay.
Kahit na, in my mind, I could accept it, di ba? If I became a revolutionary, I could accept it, na it's necessary. But personally, I could never kill a person, di ba?
Of course.
It's not me, di ba? I mean, revolutionaries kill people, di ba? Because that's mode of changing society, di ba? It's not easy for them. I mean, I know people who do that, but it's not easy for them. They do it because they feel like they have to. But ako, I didn't want to make that choice, di ba? Kaya that's why I ended up in law school. Kasi, dito na ako sa above ground. I can do more sa above ground. And totoo talaga yun. I have done more by struggling, di ba, by helping change society in a non-violent way, using the means that I have, than if di ba, siguro kung nag-undergrad ako, namatay ako early. I would probably be a hero, di ba? During the Marcos regime, I would probably be in the bantayog ng mga bayani, yung museum ng mga heroes ng mga ganyan. I would probably have been that. Pero, and that's okay. Well, I think I've done more because I chose this other path.
So, kumbaga, you were, when Ninoy was assassinated in 1983, you were a teacher.
Yes.
And then, how many years nag-EDSA Revolution? 3 years na.
Yes.
EDSA Revolution.
Nag-law school ako 85.
Oh,
bago mag-EDSA.
saan ka nag-law school?
UP.
Sa UP.
And nakala ko, ang my mind, mag-law school ako to become a human rights lawyer.
Alright.
Kasi maraming pang-aapi si Marcos, di ba? Pero first year pala ako, bumagsak na si Marcos.
Yun. So, yun na yung nangyari.
So, I had to change from being a human rights lawyer mainly to fight a dictatorship. Wala nang dictatorship. EDSA. I became an environmental lawyer. So, that's, yun ang shift.
Kaya yun yung shift.
That's why, you follow where your life leads you, di ba? And then you make decisions as you go to your life. Eto ka, dito ka dinadala ng Panginoon. Dito ka dinadala ng buhay mo. And you just have to take that opportunity.
Okay, so ngayon dadalhin kita sa love life.
Kasama yan. Integrated yan.
Sige, kwentuhan mo naman kami ng iyong love life. Saan kayo nagkakilala? How old were you?
I was this very intense, passionate person. Diba?
Yes.
I was looking for, on one hand, a partner that would be my companion in what I thought would be a very intense life.
Yes.
Or baka wala, baka magparing na lang ako.
Okay,
so I
sige.
thought about being a priest, being a Jesuit in fact.
Yeah.
I thought about that kasi maybe my intensity is just reserved for whatever God wants me to do, di ba? So si Tita, my wife now, 40 years, we met sa college, sa Ateneo. But we were not dating in Ateneo.
What was your course and what was yours?
My course was philosophy. Si Tita was communication arts.
Okay.
Batchmates? We were batchmates, class of 1980. So we knew each other as classmates. We were classmates in several subjects. Parang we were crushes of each other. But alam mo na, hindi ka not enough to cross over. Diba? At torpe din ako. People say, nang bubola lang ko na to. Torpe talaga, hindi ako makalapit ng babae. To be honest. At clueless din ako na may gusto pa na yung babae sa akin. Diba? So it was torpe in both sense na kung may gusto ako, hindi ako makalapit.
At hindi mo rin maramdaman na gusto ka na pala.
Hindi ko naramdaman na gusto ko. Diba? So, we had several encounters when we were in fourth year, di ba? But it was not, it really, itong hindi ko nasabi sa kwento kanina. After college, part pa rin yung the political...
Yeah, 1980 to.
1980. After the political dilemmas ko, naisip ko, may nag-imbita sa akin to join an armed group against Marcos. Yeah. Hindi communist. yung ano, ito yung mga nagbubomba, mga social democratic group, di ba? Na marami doon atinista. So, yes, Light the Fire movement, but not Light the Fire.
Similar
groups, di ba?
Okay.
Na I was asked to join. Natakot ako. Takot talaga ako kasi ayoko nga ng violence, di ba? Ano, in my mind, I could accept it. So, pumunta ako ng Italy. So, ako yung one of the few Filipinos, young people at that time na nag-gap year. Ngayon, dami na nag-gap year.
Ikaw mo na nag-focus
nag-gap year ako.
Buti, nakakuha pa paano?
I found work in Italy. Diba? So, I went to Italy for 1 year. Si Titay went to Cagayan de Oro to become a Jesuit volunteer. And we would write each other.
Yan ba yung JVP?
JVP.
Yun yung mga, ang tingin ko dyan noon, ito yung mga mababait na tao.
Si Tita went the first batch siya with Father Jeff Villarin.
Yes.
Yung ano. I was Italy. So we would write each other there. So we got closer because of that. But nagka-girlfriend ako sa Italy. Italian girl. I fell in love with her. And I thought it was going to be forever until I realized, uwi pala ako ng Pilipinas. Paano ito maging forever, di ba? She asked me to stay in Italy, pero I was 21, she was 23, or 22, ako 23, parang hindi, di ba?
How long were you in Italy?
A year.
Tinan mo nga naman ha, nawala yung pagkatorpe mo ha. Wala ka sa Italy.
Hindi, ano rin yun,
siya
yung, hindi man nanligaw, siya yung exert ng effort na maging
it became too obvious for you to
ano kami, yung parang you would wash dishes together, we would kasi we were working together in a place with handicapped people, so we did that. And
so did you learn how to cook Italian?
Cook? No.
Wash dishes.
To wash dishes, yeah. So we became friends, we became close friends, and then it just happened. Parang ganun. And look, my relationships are all like that. Yung parang it just happens.
So are you still in contact, even
yes,
online with this girl?
Not online, letters, and whenever I'm there, I try to see her. I try to contact her. If she's available, we will see each other. But we didn't see each other for 20 years. Diba? For a while, we would write each other, then syempre nagkasawa. She never got married. Nagkasawa na ako, hindi na masyado. And then, diba, eventually, hindi na kami susulat. But nung advent ng email, nag-email ako sa kanya.
Okay.
I just wrote a postcard muna. Can I have your email? Email ako sa kanya. And then 20 years after I left, I went back to the city. It's a city near Venice called Udine, where she lives and where I used to live. Pagpunta ko doon, nandun siya sa train station, exactly the place where we separated 20 years ago. And parang walang nangyari. So we're still good friends now.
Movie ito.
Walang movie. So I came back to the Philippines broken-hearted, but happily broken-hearted.
Yeah,
alam mo na,
it's like a
it's a beautiful
decision.
It's a mutual decision. It was a beautiful ending, di ba? Siyempre may uncertainty, but at the time, you accept it kasi walang email.
Wala namang online.
Walang email, walang cellphone,
Correct.
walang ano. Di ba yung alam mo na parang
it was as good as it got.
that was it, di ba? Na ano. And then si Tita was also going through her own process, and then I joined her in Cagayan de Oro to be a Jesuit volunteer also there. We became very, very close, pero na-consistent dun sa torpe narrative ko, di ba?
Okay.
I like her, but I didn't really wanna express it. I didn't know how to express it. She also liked me a lot. Siyempre, we got close every day, 24/7, nagsasama kami. It was a time also na, Marcos pa yun before 83, so grabe ka-tense. We were both activists, di ba? And then suddenly we decided, almost at the same time na, parang hindi tenable yung pagkakaibigan lang, di ba? Na we need to level up.
Okay.
Bring it up to a higher level. And that's it, di ba? So we started na, sige, tayo na. But I had to resolve first ang na hindi na ako magpapari, di ba? Kasi at the time, hindi ko pa resolve yun.
Meron ba?
Yeah. Kasi nga, hindi naman plano, di ba? And basically, literally, nagsama lang kami until nga one day I felt na we had to talk about it, di ba? And then one Sunday, it was a Sunday, so walang klase, under a tree in Save University.
Yes,
na pinutol na. Yung mga Ateneo
Sayang,
talaga,
nakaukit ba yung dalawang puso?
nagpuputol ng mga kahoy itong Ateneos.
Ilang years kayo na
4 years before we
4
got
years.
married.
And gusto ko yung kwento, ikwento mo sa kanila yung iyong wedding.
Yeah.
Na pati yung reception.
It's called an alternative wedding at the time, di ba? Kasi tita worked in a group called Social Development Index that developed what's called alternative lifestyles, di ba?
Oh, alternative,
Parang,
okay.
kasi if you wanted social change, you have to be the change yourself, di ba?
Mga austere.
So, hindi na austere, simple lang. Simple,
okay.
simple lifestyle. In fact, si tita sometimes regret niya yung kasi parang wala kami magandang video sa wedding, di ba? Yung dress niya was not a wedding gown, but a gift. White dress, gift naman ng kanyang, ng kanyang friends,
What year
diba?
was this?
1985.
Alternative, anong tawag mo?
Alternative wedding.
Alternative wedding.
So, 5,000 pesos ang gastos ko.
Actually, pwede mong ikwento, ipauso ulit yan. Kasi ngayon, a lot of couples, they're delaying wedding.
Yeah, because it's so expensive.
So, guys, there is such a thing pala as alternative wedding. So, sasabihin niyo sa mga friends niyo,
siguro hindi 5,000, but you can have a wedding for 20,000, 30,000 pesos.
Okay, so tell us about
so,
it. The church was...
Kasi we wanted, ngayon kasi, kids, what they do, di ba, is, then they just want a very small wedding, like destination wedding, na 20, 30 people lang. Mahal, pero less mahal, and mas solemn, di ba? Kaysa kung nasa Manila ka, hundreds of people, yung ganyan. Pero kami opposite. We have so many friends, and groups of friends, common and both of us separately. Sabi namin, parang we cannot imagine having to not invite, di ba?
Yeah.
But we couldn't afford a wedding with a meal, di ba?
Okay.
So, and a venue that's like, ngayon, venue ngayon, 1 million na, di ba? Venue pa lang yun. Diba, or 500,000 venue pa lang yun, di ba? So, we decided na yung reception namin, dun sa Ateneo, alam mo ito, sa 85 ka, di ba may Colaiko Garden? Oh, that is a really nice garden that could fit 100 people, 150 people, di ba? Right outside what is the Colaiko building, which is now MVP building. Diba?
So wait, the church was in...
But the church was in Claret. Part of the alternative weddings, walang chauffeur. Ako nag-drive, di ba? Ni kay tita.
Ano suot mo? Nakabarong ka?
Nakabarong naman ako. But we had, for example, wala kaming,
videographer.
May videographer, pero ayaw namin ng ilaw kasi, pangit ang video. But wala kaming arahe, gana. May sing-sing.
Talaga, pwede ba?
Wala kaming cord kasi feminist yung wife ko, ayaw niya ng cord na parang sinasakal siya.
Mali.
Wala kaming veil.
Mali si tita. Yung cord para sa lalaki.
Wala rin siyang veil.
Yun.
Meron kami, ang amin lang ring, and meron kami tinatawag na alay ng palay. Parang we were
that's interesting.
Our life.
Okay.
And then we invited 300 people.
Nagpaka-Jesus kayo, 5 loaves of bread.
Well, actually, kasi naubusan na talaga ng pera kasi, cafeteria yung pinakater namin. 5,000 pesos lang.
Wow! For 300 guests?
So, not finger foods lang. But a lot of people came. Diba?
So
and it was a happy occasion. Kasi all our friends came.
What was the date?
May 4, 1985.
Oh my God, talagang graduation ko yan. Kasi March 1985 ako, sa May 1, 1985 yung first job ko. Anyway, so ano kayo ngayon, 1985? Di, naka
40 years. Yeah,
Ruby Jubilarians.
Yeah, I'm very happy na we reached that stage. Kasi, we're both passionate. We're both hard-headed, di ba? We consider our marriage a miracle, di ba? Para bang there would have been many reasons to separate.
Do you think you are a person who's hard to be married to?
Yes. It's in the book. I have mental health issues. I have what was then called Asperger's, but we now call it a nice term, neurodiversity, which is autism. But
with a wide range.
Wide range kasi. So
you're very highly functioning.
Very highly functioning, di ba, na autism. I only found that out when my first son, eldest son, was diagnosed with that. And then when we started to explore, to look, etc. Oh my God, this is me, di ba? Ganun pa diagnosed din ako. And then I have ADHD, untreated yan. Both my Asperger's and my neurodiversity and my ADHD were untreated, di ba? I cope with it by myself.
May question ako sa'yo. Do you think it is better that you know it early on? Or, talaga?
Because you can intervene.
You can intervene.
Pwede mo pa intervene.
Okay.
I mean, more that the parent should know, di ba? And then make sure that the kid that's diagnosed properly has the right intervention. Marami kasing parents, and I will address this to the parents, no? Marami sa mga parents, when they're first told, yung anak nila possibly may ganyan. Like kami, 5 years old pa lang. No, 2 years old. Kasi kulang ang very delayed, di ba?
Ano yung nakakita?
Ang language. Very delayed. And maaga siya nag-school kasi we were both working. So 2 years old nang i-school na siya sa community of learners.
Pero nakakatingin siya ng diretso.
Mahirap. Ano?
Parang medyo...
So dun talaga, di ba? But that's so painful to be told at 2 years old that your son is autistic. At that time, gusto yung ginagamit.
Oo. Parang in-deny ka.
Hindi-deny ka. Many parents will just deny that, di ba? And just, so kami, we didn't. And we intervened early on.
And it was
my son has a master's, di ba? In Ateneo.
So that is the positive
yes, you have to intervene early. Pero ako wala akong gano'n. Kasi time naman natin, di ba?
Oo. Buti nga nag-cope ka eh.
Kasi ang coping ko was using my imagination. Multitasking, di ba? I became the best multitasker around. I can do 4 to 5 things. Up to now, at the same time.
Ilan ang bago ka nag-deload, ilan ang mga klase mo?
I was doing 15 classes. 10.
And one class is
30 to 40 people.
Oh my God.
And in different schools, so I commute or thankfully after the Zoom, after pandemic, di ba meron na tayong hybrid options. I do hybrid. Aside from that, when I was in 2010, so mga, 45 years old, na-diagnose ako with bipolar. Yeah, and for a while, manage yun, I got off medication for a year. After a year, I got off medication. But when my cancer came back, it all came back again. Emotional struggle. So up to now, I'm still taking medication for my bipolar. Manic ang aking problema, hindi depression.
So,
yeah, because it's part of the ADHD, diba? You have to do everything. It's very hard for your partner when you have something like that, diba?
God bless Tita.
God bless Tita. ang sasabihin ko nga sa kanya, pwede ba worth it naman? Kasi, siguro, nakabiyahe ka na everywhere, travel a lot, kasi part of my, everywhere, diba? Naman, colorful yung life natin, pero, of course, you would say, of course, it's worth it, pero when it's happening, it's hard, it's hard, kasi, mental health challenges are, di ba, more difficult for the family than for you. In fact, ang natutunan ko lang, including for myself, it is when you're affecting your people that you love the most and a lot that you have to seek intervention. Di ba? Kasi kung ikaw lang, kaya mo. But if you're affecting someone, di ba? So ano ngayon, Rose, I have medicines, psychotropic medicines. I also see a therapist regularly to talk through all of this. So I'm in a good place now. So hopefully that will be...
And it's very nice to hear that from you because despite all of these challenges, ang dami mong ginagawa, ang dami mong tinutulungan.
And that's what I'm telling people, di ba? Don't be afraid that you have mental health issues or physical health issues. Even the prostate cancer, ayaw ng mga lalaki magkwento ng kanilang, kasi prostate cancer is a productive, di ba? Health organs ang involved, di ba? So, ayaw ng mga lalaki mag-usap yan. But I found out that if you actually talk about it, it helps you. It helps a lot of other people.
It helps you understand. It makes people understand it. And they can
it's part of my mission now to talk about my physical illnesses and my mental health issues because it actually helps people.
That's right.
And believe it or not, many people have some kind of issue, di ba?
They just keep it under.
They just keep it or they just suffer
Yeah.
through it, di ba? I sleep very well because I have medication, di ba? And I don't have to be, it's supervised, so hindi siya dangerous, di ba? I sleep 10 hours a day. Kasi,
Galing mo.
Oo.
Tapos ang dami-dami mo nagagawa.
10 p.m. tulog na ako. And
Galing,
then
galing.
8 a.m. is the earliest I would wake up.
So, Tony, let's talk about what's happening in the country. Kasi ikaw yung lagi ko na rin nakikita sa TV, ni-interview pag meron tayong eleksyon or other political upheavals. Kumusta na yung impeachment case ni Sara Duterte?
We'll see what the Supreme Court will do. But I'm actually positive na regardless of whether the Supreme Court stops this impeachment, meron namang February 6, 2026, di ba?
So,
6 months ago. And they actually know now how to do it properly. Kasi the Supreme Court told them how to do it properly. We can criticize the Supreme Court, others have done so. I have a different view than the Supreme Court. But the Supreme Court has spoken, and if it affirms that, you have to respect that. And just file the case again. Diba? Ang real issue is whether the people that we have votes in the Senate to, diba? Ang hope no na pag may trial, at lalo na may mga bank account si Sara, lalabas natin sa trial, diba? Na sana makikita na talagang corrupt siya. And she'll have a chance naman to respond to that, diba? Sa akin, more than Sara or Marcos, itong system.
Institution na.
Diba? This country is run by political dynasties that do not care about the country.
Do you think
they
there's still
care
a chance
only about themselves? Well, ang hope
to
ko
take
na...
out that political...
Yeah. Dalawa. One is they can destroy each other. That's what Marcos and Duterte are doing, di ba? And hopefully destroy the other families also in this fight that they have. Kaya dapat huwag tayo masyadong makialam sa away Duterte.
Gusto ko yan. Yung parang let them
kill, diba? Kasi kill, not physically kill, but let them destroy each other's political dynasties. Diba?
So kumbaga what you're saying is let political dynasties self-destruct.
Yes, let them self-destruct. And it does because grabe yung corruption, di ba? Tinan mo itong flood control, di ba? It is really just terrible. These contractors who are linked to politicians, talagang terrible sila, di ba? Sobrang na talaga. So people will eventually, so that's one. But kailangan din kasi may alternative, di ba? Hindi naman pwedeng destroy lang, wala kang And here's where I'm very hopeful because I was dean of the Ateneo School of Government for a while. 10 years.
Nung nag-aral si Vico?
Yes, he was my student and he worked for me sa Ateneo School of Government. And I can say with certainty that our politicians under 40 are much better than our politicians above 40, especially above 50, di ba? So, Vico is just like the most obvious.
Yes, kasi celebrity
siya ng konti, ganyan
oh my God, I'm
Metro
so happy
Manila,
to hear that.
di ba? But even like Joy Memont is quite good, relatively good si Joy. One of the few above 50, is above 50 rin, si Joy is good. But our young politicians are much, much better. Even sa Congress, makita, kung nanonood ka ng mga Quadcom, mga hearings, you will see all these young legislators allowed to shine. Diba? Na, even if they're part of dynasties. Kasi, to some extent, the dynasties will self-destruct if there are cooperative members of the dynasties that see that this system cannot go on. So I'm very hopeful. Very hopeful. Sa 2028, worried pa ako kung sino mukhang si Sara or whoever, di ba? Walang clear. Gusto ko si Risa, pero I think there are some people, I will not mention na kasi awayin nila ako. There are some people who do not want her because they want someone else, di ba? Yung hindi pa sila naka-get over sa 2022. Tapos na yung 2022 elections, di ba?
How about
to Lenny, for example, I would mention, Lenny's very good, but Lenny's now mayor of Naga. She should be mayor for 9 years, di ba? Like Vico is mayor for 9 years. Because after 9 years, you can show something. 3 years, you're not able to show something. You're able to show process.
Yeah.
Di ba? Maganda. I'm sure Lenny can do that. but stay for 9 years as mayor. So you build something, di ba?
Yeah.
And Vico will be able to do that without corruption. Diba? Zero corruption. Can you believe
Si
that?
Vico kasi is not yet eligible come next election.
2020,
Kulang
hindi pa
siya ng 1 year.
1
diba?
year pa siya. Kulang.
How about Magalong?
Pwede si Benji, but he doesn't have the celebrity, di ba? So, pwede siya. But I think si Risa pang mas maano doon, di ba? So I wish Risa would do it and be acceptable to everyone, di ba? Or we find someone that's acceptable to everyone that want a serious change in this country. But after that, I'm pretty certain, di ba? Vico Soto or someone else, di ba?
Yeah.
Ang sinasabi ko lang, tayo mga baby boomers, sorry, ikaw, nasa Gen X ka ba?
Or sa boundary.
Di ba parang boundary ka ng tayo na baby boomers and even Gen X, di ba? Our time is done. We did good, di ba? We did good naman. I mean, kami, ikaw, kasama ko, estudyante ka nun eh. We overthrew a dictatorship, di ba? We let go of the US bases that was such a big presence in our lives as a country, di ba? Marami naman tayong nagawang changes sa bayan na ito. Pero tapos na tayo.
Yes.
Tapos na tayo, di ba? Let people under 40 or in their 40s now run the country from now on.
Agree ako dyan.
Talagang, kasi they have the skill. Di ba? They have the technology.
So, dapat nandun na tayo sa,
tutulong na lang tayo. Or statesman,
yes,
di ba? So, halimbawa, sila Bam, sila Kiko, they should stay in the Senate for 12 years and be statesmen, di ba? Let people like Vico be the one to run after 2030, run the country, di ba? After 2028. In fact, ang position ko, kung may constitutional change, ibaba ang presidential and vice presidential age to 30.
Okay.
And then yung congressman and senators also, di ba? And there's no reason why, bakit mas mataas ang requirement mo sa age requirement mo sa president, vice president, senator, di ba? And then, ang congressman ibaba mo to 18. You can be a congressman at 18 kung magaling ka, di ba?
How about the educational attainment?
Sa atin, mahirap kasi educational attainment kasi di ba, so many of our people are poor and then you will exclude them, di ba, from it's not that, it's the qualifications is not so much the educational attainment, but what you do with your life, di ba?
Yun na nga, kaya lang the problem is we have a lot of people in the Senate who I think don't even know the preamble of the Constitution.
Yeah, of course.
Hindi naman
but a lot of college graduates do also do not know that.
Okay, pero what I'm saying is
mga law students ang nakamemorize niyan.
Di ba? Paano ba naman yan? Na-memorize ko yan nung bata. Di ba?
College? Kasi may constitutional subject nun eh.
Oo.
Polisay, sa polisay.
Parang preamble, we, the sovereign Filipino people. Anyway, so this has been...
So the future is good.
Yeah, so that's what I want you to do.
For me, the future is good for the country.
Please address
because of the young politicians that we have. Example niyan si Vico Soto, diba? And others. And the young people are connected. They have the technology, diba? They have so much tools that they have, diba? They don't have the wisdom.
Yes,
that's where we come in.
Yes.
So that's where your show comes in, diba? That's where your books come in. That's where my books come in, because they can read that.
Yeah.
But you have to translate that into, diba?
Understandable to the
digestible. That's why I do this podcast, because this is a way of communicating a book, and then hopefully read it, diba? Because of that.
Yep. At dahil baka mali ka sa klase mo, please invite our guests.
Yes. So, we still have copies of this. We're now on the second run. It's a bestseller in Philippine publishing. Nasa second run na tayo. Nito, it's still mainly in fully book all over the country. Please read it. If you care about the country, if you care about yourself, if you care about your children, kasi it has politics, it has spirituality, it also has very real stories about mental health issues, about physical health. Kunin nyo na kasi may second book coming. Na sinusulat ko na ngayon. This one is Happy and Change Makers Unfinished Life. Diba? So anticipating the time to be finished, a happy death. Diba?
Oh my God!
Parang how does one move towards happiness. Parang aging din siya, di ba?
Alam mo, meron akong nabasang libro, Chasing Daylight.
Yes, I've read that. It's beautiful, di ba? So, kasi when this Rose, when I wrote this, nagbasa ako ng maraming memoirs, di ba?
Isa yun sa mga nakita.
Yes, because the best memoirs I read are end-of-life memoirs. Hindi yung buong buhay mo, but just the last 5 years of your life or the last 1 year of your life. I found it beautiful. And I found that now, di ba, because, alam mo, you will not pay attention to this until something happens to you, like nangyari sa akin, di ba? Every moment is beautiful, di ba?
Yes.
Every story is beautiful, di ba? So
You're
just even one
everything.
story a day, sharing it in Facebook, di ba? Helps people. So, na-realize ko, I want to write a book that's about how, when you know you're dying, and all of us are dying, di ba?
I know.
And
Ang ganda niyan.
when you know you're dying, how do you move towards that happy?
Correct.
So people can learn from it. Diba? So,
Yes.
ang mga chapters doon, closures, diba? Bucket list, how to say goodbye, diba? Lahat yan ng mga...
Lahat yan. At saka lahat dapat ng tao. Basahin
The
yan
happiest-
kahit walang diagnosis.
The happiest moments in your life, diba? Parang so that you will see. The whole point niya is how to live a happy life, diba? And you don't have to be dying for
Yeah.
that. So, yan yung next book. Actually, similar to this, it will be To Love Until the End, Change Makers, Happy Death. Diba?
And with that, maraming salamat po, Tony. Napakaganda nito. Thank you very much for everything that you do. Do watch for the next episode, and I hope sana yung mga natutunan nyo or kung ano man na naging effect sa inyo, comment nyo rin dito sa video rin. Thank you very much. This has been Rose Press Pausa, wishing you all a high and happy FQ.
Thank you.